morning, my dear YouTube family. Well, yesterday our history department combined of both the seniors engineers and along with our teachers went to visit Khonoma village, and it is also known as first green village of India. Okay, I had captured all the places that we saw, but first of all I would love to show the beautiful views of Khonoma village and all other activities done on the way. And thereafter all the explanation about the forts, Baronghos and many other things that had explained very well by the tourist guide. So yeah, everyone watch till the end and hoping that you will learn something from this video. Alright, enjoy watching.
Here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be alone, we're unstoppable. Don't be afraid to show what we're going for. This is what we know. Here we come back to life, we're still breathing. Standing up, everybody's gonna see it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. Even if we fall, we will rise up and we follow the path that we believe in. No, we're not gonna stop until we reach it. All you need to know is that we're holding on. We rise up from the dust and clear my throat.
Here. iPhone 12. Party, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give me see me more than the bank. We cannot see you. We can sit down with the boys. Some boys come and sit down like this. I will sit down. No way.
Passport.
Yo.
Aci itu rabi kopi alak sunduk lah dia. Kan?
Village and whatnot, but then what we don't really know is these village gates, they actually tell the story of the village. All right, and then each tribe has their own way of engraving things on their village gates. One of the most common things that we would normally find in the village gate are these circular structures, circular figures. All right, I'll get to that later on, but then here in the village we have 7 of these ceremonized village gates, which are like the main entry and exit points. All right, intruders were not able to enter the village without crossing the village gate. Also, likewise, there were different days where the village gates would remain closed, where even outsiders were not allowed to enter the village, or even visitors. So there are so many things pertaining to that, but then if I get into too much detail, it will only confuse you more. So this village gate could be open and closed, and then they had so many important uses. Likewise, there's this particular term that we use as, we call it kenna, or we can also call it like taboo, something which is bad. We all have different terms in our own dialect. So one example is women. Whenever they were crossing the village gates, they were never allowed to cross this village gate with any scarf covering their head or the baskets that the women wear. Women were always supposed to put the basket on top of their head and then cross the village gate. They were not supposed to put the basket on their shoulders on the side like this. It was like a bad sign. So these village gates and then the taboos that were practiced back then also, we could say, helped shape what Nagas are today. So coming to these village gates, each tribe or each village has their own different engravings in their own village gates. All right. So this right here, this is what we call as a Naga warrior. So Khonoma has a very long history of fighting battles. All right. They have been known they are called as the village of warriors. So they have been known for. And then all the sanitation work in the village is actually done by the students union. And then we don't have higher secondary college here. We only have till high school. We have 3 schools here. So just this morning itself, the students, they went for sanitation drive. They cleaned the village. They emptied the dustbin. So as you go along, you'll be finding dustbins all around the village. So if you have you're eating any sweet, chips or any kind of thing, then please use the dustbins, all right? Because if you are littering here, then the students are also your juniors only, so you're only letting your juniors do your work for you again by cleaning it up after you. So that's what we try to emphasize whenever any school group comes to use a dustbin. All right.
Yes.
And then about the village gate down there, if anybody has any questions, then you can ask me. If not, I'll just continue on with the next explanation about the geography of the village. I did not come and look into it. The villagers themselves, they come, reconstructed everything. Later on, the ASI came, they put up a banner over here and whatnot. And then it said there are some actual hidden documents inside, but then we don't know if that's factual or just hearsay. But then even when this place was being reconstructed, the people who were building this had to hide this thing away. Yeah, this is actually valuable.
Where did the Battle of Khonoma exactly take place?
Here in Khonoma.
No, the
So
exact place.
the area we can't really say because we have 3 khels in the village. 3 khels, and then there are some few sub-clans in the village as well. So each khel had their own roles to play in the village, all right? But then as we go along to the fort and then I start explaining about the uses of the forts and whatnot, you will slowly get an idea of how the battles were actually fought, all right? But then the villages was, during the olden days, the village was not as big as this. All right, the settlements, all the settlements were always inside the village gate. And then the first ever recorded census of Khonoma was 80 people. Yeah, so we can get an idea of how life was back then. Soldiers in the forest and then giving them some rice, or the Japanese giving them some kind of things to eat and whatnot. But then the reason why the relation between the Japanese and the Nagas was spoiled is because for us Nagas, this pride, prestige, it plays a very important role. So when the Imphal road was cut off and then the Japanese in Kohima were not getting their rations anymore, then the Japanese went about killing and slaughtering the animals of the Nagas, the pigs, the cows, the chicken that they had without their consent. So the Nagas, they felt offended with that, and then they started going to the Britishers and acting as spies, telling them where the guns were, where their officers were and whatnot. So at first the relation was okay, but then later on the relationship slowly started breaking up. So even to this day, Japanese people come here to the village, and then they once came, and then I did not see it myself, but then it is said that they once came and also apologized for what they had done to the people. The Semoma fort, all right, and then fort in our own term we call it as Kuda, all right. So this is regarded as one of the strongest forts in Northeast by Major John Butler of the British Army. Same during the olden days. Right now it's used for community gatherings, community tuitions and whatnot. The holes that you see here, what do you think these are for? So peeping, alright, for peeping and then putting their guns out and their spears out. So if you look at it, you'll know that it has a full 360 view of the place. This side will be covering this area, this side will be covering this area. So nobody is escaping any view from this side, alright, from any of this, alright. So this fort has been given the name as one of the strongest in Northeast. It was built in 1825, last reconstructed in 1990. And then between 1825 and 1990, a series of battles happened with the Britishers. There was a political battle with the Indians as well. We all know about it, which we don't like to talk about. But then, yeah, that's about it. All right. So the fourth, its uses, and then we have this concept of blowing horns, right? Not all tribes have this practice, but then I'm sure almost all tribes towards this side, this part of Nagaland, would have this practice of blowing horns. All right, and then horns were all actually blown to symbolize different occasions. There were horns blown which were used for festive times, horns blown to alarm the people that intruders were entering and whatnot. All right, and then when it comes to the Angami Nagas, we're getting to weapons now, right? The main mode of weapons that we used were spears, shields, and machetes. We call them as daws, right? So spears and shields were originally made from animal furs, all right? Shields were made from the furs of this black bear. Here in the forest, we still have the Himalayan black bear, all right? There have been a few sightings of leopards as well, clouded leopards. So those kinds of animal furs were used for building the spear, and I'll just bring you something. A shield, all right. Normally shields are built from the fur of this bear. Can you guess what this is made from? This is built from the skin of an elephant, all right. So, and then you can see this, the circular thing is here again. So it's about the same height as me. So we regard our Naga warriors to be very strong, very huge, all right. So we make our spears quite big, and then spears were not, in movies that we see people normally hold spears like this, right? Of course, we can also hold it like this and then cover our whole body with this. But then how it was worn was we would put our spears on the side. We always wore the shields on the side, all right? And then spears on one hand. And then if once we are done with the attacking, if we want to cover ourselves, we turn our body again. All right. So, and then most of you will also be making this joke, but then we make a joke saying that if any girl is getting married to an Angami girl, then Angami guy, then she is going to work a lot. That's what we say, right? But then that's
where do we get this, like in the early days? Since
elephants were around back then. Elephants were around.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I think like even if we come with spears around, it compete. No.
Photographer! No, we're not selling this.
No, just
I don't know, I can't put a price on this because these are like... How do we hold this? So it's like this one is broken, so we can't really hold it properly, but then this one in the middle. And then it's a shield. Yeah, it's a shield.
If the enemy comes with a
We can look like the breeder. No, they
greener. Small guy go though. Thing to tie up.
You look like Spartans. This was fired was this year when we had a festival, and then our Abu Metha, he came and then fired, which is completely separate. It is just a house, morum, and then those places, those kinds of morums are used for strategizing, for planning attacks, or if anything is happening in the village, what are we to do if with the next village they just attack our village and whatnot. Those places are used for that. These are community gathering areas, and then this family has been very kind enough to give their house to the community like this. As you can see, there are no doors, so it means that it's open to the community. Anybody can come here and rest. All right. And then during the olden days, we have lots of strict rules against women. All right. women, if we were to compare to this day, of course we still give women forest, right? So during the olden days, if somebody was going hunting, then he would go out and then see the face of Shekyu, and then if there have been some few stories that says that the face sometimes smirks, sometimes the face frowns and whatnot. We serve it in plates like this, wooden plate, right? There's no joint.
저기 자 빨리 사요. 빨리 사요.